Hey yo everybody, my name is Shadow Phoenix. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Planet Coaster. We are back in Whitaker Lake, the challenge park that I've been working on for a while now. And well, we're finishing up. Here we are on year 30. And in year 30 I decided to go ahead and put one thing that everybody was asking me to do, which was a hypercoaster, a B&M hypercoaster. I found a neat little place back here in the very back of the park that I thought would be a good spot for it, right behind the plunge ride that we have there, the giant splash ride, or giant log flume, whatever you want to call those things. They have many different names, but I thought this would be a neat place. We could kind of have the coaster kind of go up and back into kind of the hills of the park and then kind of come back around. This was just a coaster that I was just kind of going to do an out and back on, and not much else to it, and it just kind of, again, just kind of built itself. You know, it just kind of went with the flow. I was just kind of like, all right, let's go out this way. Oh, okay, and then all right, this could work. Let's do it this way. Oh, that does work. All right, now let's try this, and you know, a little bit of experimentation, and we got it exactly where we needed it to go, and worked it around the terrain. So we're just gonna do the turnaround on it here. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the actual name for this ride. I call the ride Alpha, and the reason for that is, well, A, it's the biggest coaster in the park. It's the Alpha coaster. The other reason is it is named after a person who used to be in my streams on Twitch quite a bit. He was a Patreon subscriber for quite a long time. And back then, when I was doing Patreons and some, you know, people donating on Twitch and stuff back then, in the old days, back when Planet Coaster kind of first started, I had this thing where if you had, you know, donated or become a patron or anything, I would name a coaster after you. I would do like a custom coaster just for you. And he actually ended up doing it. His name was AlphaCough. He donated and as well as was on my Patreon for quite a few months. And then he just kind of disappeared. Never know really what kind of happened to him after that. I see him every now and then. He pops back up and never really talks. So I don't really know what happened. But this coaster is a dedication to him. You know, because back then, like I said, I said I would do a coaster just for you, and he wanted a hypercoaster, so this is his hypercoaster, and it's called Alpha in his namesake. So yeah, we've done the turnaround there, and now we're just going to come back in, and I'm trying to figure out how we're going to come back into the actual park now. And I got this idea. Let's take it down and have it kind of come around and go over top of the entrance to the coaster, like you would walk underneath of a an airtime hill, as it kind of come down through there, and it kind of comes down off the hill pretty quick and goes into like a little turn here and into the airtime hill over top of the station. But then it's going to go around by the Boomerang coaster by Raven and come back around this little like berm and then back into the station for the final brake run. That was the general idea that I was kind of going for here. The station, what we did for the station when we get to that point is just a basic station, very 2000s kind of station. Nothing too out of the ordinary, nothing too fancy, just a basic metal station is kind of what I was thinking for this, and that's what we ended up doing. Trying to get this airtime hill to kind of work right for me was actually kind of a pain, but it did work out. So I don't typically, you know, when I first started playing Planet Coaster, the hypers were pretty much all we had in the game, so it was this or the Aero coasters, I think, were the first two original coasters that we had to play with, and I built quite a few hyper coasters back when the game first came out, and you know, this was just something I don't typically build these things anymore. I just think that they're big multi-million-dollar coasters that most parks don't really have, although it's getting to a point where now most parks are getting them. But a lot of the parks that I kind of do, the quaint little, you know, like family-owned parks and stuff, don't really get these. But I felt like this was a good way to end the park in its final year. This is the last year of the park. It got to the point, now let me explain why I decided to stop on Whitaker Lake. It got to the point where we ran out of rides. there was just nothing else that we had at the time that I wanted to use in the game. There was no other coasters that I really wanted to use. And, you know, I mean, there were some that I wanted to use, but I'd missed the points where we could actually use them. Because as I was doing this, you know, like in every kind of year kind of thing, it didn't make sense to add an Aero suspended coaster in like 2000 and something. So we didn't do it. There you saw me kind of build backwards a little bit so I could get the idea of where I wanted things to go. And now at this point we do the banking and then just smooth everything out. Most of the time when I do my coasters, I don't bank anything until it's almost done. Like banking is one of the final things I do right before smoothing everything out. I actually do the banking and smoothing at the same time. That's kind of how I build. The coaster came out really, really well, actually. I was very, very happy with it. I was trying to get this little area right here over top of the brake run to kind of go right, as well as this curve to kind of smooth out and get everything kind of going there. So it did take me a long time to actually get the smoothing out on this, I will say that. And just trying to get the pacing and everything good for it too. But yeah, we just basically we ran out of rides that we could add to the park that was available for the time frames that we had. There's just a lot of things that a lot of parks were adding that we didn't have. There were, you know, water rides. We don't have water park stuff in Planet Coaster. There are certain coasters that we don't have, and you know, things like that, live shows, lots of stuff. If I ever do this again, and most likely I will, probably in a scenario mode though, I hope to kind of plan things out a little better on how we're going to go. And figure out the rides and stuff. Well, mostly just kind of a master plan is kind of what I most likely will do. And I'll probably do a custom scenario just for myself to kind of go that route as well. That way things unlock when I need them to unlock. You know, we still put money into research, so we still have to spend money on that in scenario mode. So, you know, but if I can do it custom, I can say, oh, I want to start with a wooden coaster instead of starting with an Aero coaster. And I think the next time I do this, it will be a much, much better park as well, because I have learned a lot of lessons from doing this park in Crystal Gardens. As you can tell, if you look at this park and then you look at Crystal Gardens, there's such a huge difference in my building styles and how things look, and like the gardening, the terrain, the foliage work, the coaster designs, the detail work that I just put into things is so much different in Crystal Gardens than it is in this one. And you know, Whitaker Lake, I learned a lot from Whitaker Lake, and I learned a lot from watching other people such as, you know, Bro Coaster and other stuff like that as well on how to do things just better. So I definitely, you know, this wasn't a one-man show. I had a lot of help in getting to be, you know, as good as I am in Crystal Gardens and stuff. You can, you know, and like I said, you can definitely tell. You go back and look at this park, even this video right here, because this was made, I think I finished this park up in like October, right before I started working on, it was right when I started working on Crystal Gardens. I finished up this park too. So I was kind of doing both of them at the same time. So this is very old footage. But yeah, it's nice to have the park done. I would love to keep working on it. It's just the other thing, and I haven't discussed this yet either. The other thing is the FPS. The FPS was horrible in this park. It was getting to the point where I couldn't really do anything, and I thought, you know what, it's best if we just call it a day. Because unlike Crystal Gardens, where I'm building it in sandbox mode and just can do whatever I want, I don't have to worry about the guests and stuff. This park runs on making money, so I have to let the guests in, and I have to have a bunch of guests in to make money with it. So, you know, I've already had to limit the guests down at this point quite a bit. Money was starting to become an issue where, you know, if you don't have enough guests to take care of the entire park, you know, and make your entry fees, then it's just not going to work. So I do hope to probably, I'm thinking Thursday I'm going to do 2 PLVs, one maybe from Crystal Gardens and one from Whitaker Lake for you guys. That will be my Thursday video, so look forward to that. And then, of course, the weekend we'll be back in Crystal Gardens. And then next week, next Tuesday, will be the final episode of Whitaker Lake. This is the final recording that I did of building. So next Tuesday will be kind of a walkthrough of the park and kind of going over the park and you know, taking a look at everything that we have. So I also would like to take the time right now to kind of call out and say, hey, I would love to do some more Planko park tours. I don't really have any parks that I can do. So if you guys have parks and you would like me to do a walkthrough of it, you know, one of my park tours, definitely make sure you send that. There's a submission link down below. Do not put the link, your Steam Workshop link, in the comments. Make sure you look in the video description below, grab that link that's in there, click it, and go to the submission page to submit it. I'm still, even after I described in detail how to submit stuff for that, I still notice that there's people not doing it, you know. One of the submissions that I got in where it says Steam Workshop link, they just put coaster. They didn't even put a link. It's not even a link to the Steam Workshop, not even a link at all. And I was like, really? So that one had to be deleted. It's simple, guys. Just most of you understand how to do it. I don't know why it's such a huge task to know how to follow directions, but yeah, there are some people out there who are not doing so. It's kind of funny actually, but and no, this video is not, or this coaster is not actually going that fast. It's actually just sped up. I think I sped this up like 4 times to do this video. So, but here we are. We're almost at the end of the video. At this point, I just had to figure out what colors we're going to paint it, and I was thinking maybe we'll go with a red and white. That seemed pretty good to me, so that's kind of the way I went. I think I went red and cream, actually, more of a creamish color. Like a tan, but I can't remember. I definitely, it was at least an off-white that I used. But yeah, we'll have a few more videos. We'll have this video. This is the last recorded footage of kind of construction and stuff, and then we'll have next week's video of Whitaker Lake, which will be kind of showing off the whole park. And that's it, guys. We've reached the end of a park. If you guys want, you can go ahead and download this on my Steam Workshop right now. It is available, but I would probably suggest waiting until next week when there will be an all-new one, like version 3 of the park, basically, which will have some more fixes and stuff to it that I've discovered along the way. Well, that's going to do it. Once again, if you've got a park you would like me to do a park tour of, make sure you click that link in the video description that says park submissions, park tour submissions, things like that. Click that link to send that over to me if you would like that. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you guys with a bit of a showcase video showing off of the finished product here. And then I will see you again tomorrow with some more videos. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I very, very much appreciate it. Hey everyone, if you'd like to help support me and my channel, I have a Patreon page where you can do just that. You can pledge anything from $1 or more. Anyone who pledges $15 or more gets a unique, specially designed roller coaster and Planet Coaster made just for them. My little way of saying thanks. You can also just send donations as well if you don't want to join Patreon. And you can find those links in the video description below. Every tiny red cent I make from these means the world to me and is extremely helpful. If you're interested in my PC setup that I work with and play on that you see here, every piece of the system is described below with links to Amazon if you want to purchase them or anything else. Thanks for tuning in to my videos and my channel. If you aren't already a subscriber, click that on the screen below. And you can also check out a few of my other videos on the screen here as well. You can keep up to date on what's going on in my own little world via Twitter or watch me stream live on Twitch as well. Links are in the video description below. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.